Good morning. My name is George Jones, and I have spent the past 27 years researching nutrition, metabolic health, and chronic disease prevention at Imperial College London. During that time, I have witnessed something quite troubling unfold across British households, something that begins quietly at the breakfast table but reverberates through entire lifetimes. It concerns the cereals we pour into our bowls each morning, the products we trust to nourish our children before school, and the brands we have grown up with and assume to be wholesome simply because they have occupied supermarket shelves for decades. What I am about to share with you is not alarmist rhetoric, nor is it intended to shame anyone for their food choices. Rather, it is an evidence-based exploration of how certain breakfast cereals sold throughout the United Kingdom contain ingredients and additives that may quietly undermine health, disrupt metabolic function, and contribute to the very diseases we spend billions trying to treat. This is about transparency, informed choice, and reclaiming a sense of integrity in what we eat. The British breakfast has undergone a profound transformation over the past century. Where once porridge oats, eggs, kippers, and toast formed the foundation of morning meals, convenience and marketing have shifted us towards brightly coloured boxes promising energy, fortification, and vitality. Today, over 90% of households in the United Kingdom consume breakfast cereals, with the average British person eating nearly 4 bowls per week. The market is valued at over £3 billion and continues to grow annually, driven by aggressive marketing, convenience, and a cultural belief that these products represent a sensible, quick breakfast solution. Yet beneath the cheerful packaging and health claims lies a more complex and concerning reality. Recent research from my colleagues at Imperial College London has revealed that British children consume exceptionally high proportions of ultra-processed foods, with 1 in 5 children obtaining 78% of their daily calories from these products. Breakfast cereals are among the most frequently consumed ultra-processed foods in this category, and their impact on child health, obesity rates, and long-term metabolic outcomes cannot be overstated. To understand the scope of the issue, we must first define what constitutes an ultra-processed food. These are products that have been subjected to multiple industrial processes far removed from their original whole food state. They typically contain long ingredient lists filled with additives, preservatives, emulsifiers, artificial colors, synthetic vitamins, and refined sugars designed to adjust color, flavor, consistency, texture, or shelf life. Unlike minimally processed foods such as steel-cut oats or shredded wheat, ultra-processed cereals are manufactured using ingredients and techniques that would never be found in a traditional kitchen. The average person in the United Kingdom now consumes more than half of their daily energy intake from ultra-processed foods, a figure that is the highest in Europe for both adults and children. This is not merely a matter of convenience or modernity. Research conducted at Imperial College London has linked higher consumption of ultra-processed foods to an increased risk of developing obesity, type 2 diabetes, and even certain cancers. The mechanisms underlying these associations are still being explored, but hypotheses include reduced satiety, leading to overconsumption, and the potential for additives to interfere with biological processes such as hormones influencing appetite and glucose control. One of the most insidious aspects of ultra-processed breakfast cereals is their sugar content. Many products marketed to children and families contain shockingly high levels of added sugars, often disguised under multiple names on ingredient labels. Glucose syrup, caramelized sugar syrup, fructose, maltodextrin, and invert sugar are all terms used to obscure the true quantity of sugar present in a single serving. A global survey conducted by World Action on Salt and Health examined 19 breakfast cereal products manufactured by major brands including Kellogg's and cereal partners worldwide across 29 countries and found that 58% of cereals analyzed contained high levels of sugar, with 55% containing half the daily recommended intake of free sugars for a 3-year-old child in just one serving. In the United Kingdom, Kellogg's Frosties contains 37 grams of sugar per 100 grams, equivalent to over 9 teaspoons of sugar in a single 30-gram serving. That represents 58% of the recommended maximum free sugar intake for a child aged 4 to 6 years in just one bowl. Similarly, Kellogg's Cocoa Pops and Crunchy Nut Corn Flakes each contain over 35 grams of sugar per 100 grams, placing them firmly in the high sugar category according to European reference intake guidelines. Morrison's Choco Pillows contains 36% sugar, and Sainsbury's Frosted Flakes contains 34%, both exceeding the sugar content of milk chocolate digestive biscuits. The consequences of this excessive sugar consumption are well documented. Repeated blood sugar spikes and crashes contribute to insulin resistance, weight gain, metabolic syndrome, and an increased risk of type 2 diabetes, particularly in children whose bodies are still developing. Beyond metabolic health, high sugar intake is associated with dental caries, behavioral disturbances, and poor nutritional quality overall, as sugary cereals often displace more nutrient-dense breakfast options such as eggs, porridge, or whole grains. What makes this particularly troubling is the way these products are marketed. Cartoon characters, bright colors, and health claims such as fortified with vitamins or made with whole grains are used to create an illusion of wholesomeness, misleading parents into believing they are making responsible choices for their children. Campaign groups have raised concerns about the use of cartoons on cereal packaging, noting that these marketing techniques specifically target young children and create brand loyalty from an early age. The Food Standards Agency has recognized the need for stricter regulations on the promotion of products high in fat, sugar, or salt, and breakfast cereals are included in Category 3 of these restrictions, yet enforcement remains inconsistent and insufficient. Another major concern with many popular breakfast cereals is the presence of artificial colors and flavorings, some of which have been linked to hyperactivity and behavioral problems in children. Since 2008, the United Kingdom has required manufacturers to include warning labels on products containing 6 specific synthetic colors: sunset yellow, quinoline yellow, camwoisen, allura red, tartrazine, and ponceau for red. These additives have been associated with attention deficit hyperactivity disorder symptoms, and research has suggested that they may contribute to deficiencies in essential minerals such as zinc and manganese while increasing the accumulation of heavy metals, including mercury. Despite the introduction of warning labels and recommendations from the British government for manufacturers to voluntarily remove these colors, many cereals still contain them. The European Union has largely phased out the use of these synthetic dyes in children's products, yet the United Kingdom market continues to allow their presence, prioritizing industry interests over public health. Natural alternatives exist, derived from sources such as beetroot, turmeric, and spirulina, and some manufacturers have begun transitioning towards these options, but progress has been slow and uneven across brands. Equally troubling is the widespread use of seed oils in breakfast cereals, particularly sunflower oil and rapeseed oil, also known as canola. These oils are rich in omega-6 fatty acids, specifically linoleic acid, which when consumed in excess can be converted in the body to arachidonic acid, a precursor to pro-inflammatory compounds. The modern Western diet is characterized by an imbalance between omega-6 and omega-3 fatty acids, with ratios often exceeding 15:1 when they should ideally be closer to 4:1 or lower. This imbalance contributes to chronic low-grade inflammation, which is implicated in cardiovascular disease, metabolic syndrome, autoimmune conditions, and even neurological disorders. Seed oils are used in cereals to improve texture, bind ingredients, and extend shelf life, but their health implications are significant and often ignored by manufacturers and regulators alike. Imperial College research has consistently emphasized the importance of reducing inflammatory dietary patterns as a cornerstone of preventive medicine, yet seed oils remain ubiquitous in the British food supply. Emulsifiers represent yet another category of additives found in many breakfast cereals that deserve greater scrutiny. These substances, including lecithins, mono and diglycerides, and various polysorbates, are used to blend ingredients that would otherwise separate, such as oils and water-based components. While emulsifiers are generally recognized as safe by regulatory bodies, emerging research suggests they may have unintended consequences for gut health and metabolic function. A study examining emulsifiers in ultra-processed foods in the United Kingdom food supply found that these additives can alter the composition and function of the gut microbiome, potentially contributing to inflammatory bowel disease, metabolic syndrome, and other chronic conditions. The gut microbiome plays a crucial role in immune function, nutrient absorption, hormone regulation, and even mental health, and disruptions to this delicate ecosystem can have far-reaching effects throughout the body. Emulsifiers may increase intestinal permeability, allowing bacterial components to cross the gut lining and trigger inflammatory responses. For children whose microbiomes are still developing, the long-term impact of daily emulsifier consumption is unknown but concerning. Natural flavorings are another misleading term frequently found on cereal ingredient labels. While the word natural suggests something wholesome and unprocessed, the reality is far more complex. Natural flavorings can be derived from plant or animal sources but are often chemically extracted and concentrated, sometimes using solvents and other industrial processes. Barley malt extract, for example, is commonly used in cereals to add a sweet, malty flavor, but it provides minimal nutritional value and contributes to the overall sugar load. The term natural flavoring is intentionally vague, allowing manufacturers to avoid disclosing specific compounds or additives, which erodes consumer transparency and trust. What parents often do not realize is that these flavorings are added to compensate for the poor taste and texture that result from overprocessing and the use of low-quality ingredients. A truly wholesome cereal made from whole grains, nuts, seeds, and dried fruit requires no flavorings whatsoever, as the natural flavors of these ingredients are sufficient and satisfying. Fortification is another area where breakfast cereals create an illusion of health while masking underlying nutritional deficiencies. Many cereals are fortified with synthetic vitamins and minerals such as iron, folic acid, vitamin D, and B vitamins, and these additions are prominently displayed on packaging as selling points. However, fortification is often a compensation strategy employed by manufacturers to add back nutrients that were destroyed during the intense processing required to produce the cereal. Whole grains naturally contain a rich array of vitamins, minerals, fiber, and phytonutrients, but when these grains are refined, extruded, puffed, or toasted at high temperatures, much of their nutritional value is lost. Adding back synthetic vitamins does not recreate the complex nutritional matrix found in whole foods, nor does it provide the same bioavailability or health benefits. Furthermore, some fortified nutrients can be problematic in excess, particularly for children, and the long-term effects of consuming high doses of synthetic vitamins daily are not fully understood. British parents are often led to believe that fortified cereals are a responsible choice, but in reality, they would be far better served by offering their children minimally processed whole grains that retain their natural nutritional profile. Portion size imagery on cereal packaging is another deceptive marketing tactic that warrants attention. Research examining UK children's breakfast cereals found that the portion sizes depicted in photographs on cereal boxes are grossly misleading and bear little resemblance to the serving sizes used to calculate nutritional information. A bowl of cereal shown on the front of a package might appear to contain a modest 30-gram serving, but the actual volume photographed often represents 60 grams or more, effectively doubling the sugar, calorie, and additive intake without the consumer realizing it. This visual manipulation preys on parents' trust and desire to provide adequate nutrition for their children, leading to overconsumption and contributing to the childhood obesity crisis that now affects 1 in 3 British children by the time they leave primary school. The fact that manufacturers are permitted to use such misleading imagery speaks to the regulatory gaps and industry influence that continue to prioritize profit over public health. It is also worth noting that recent product recalls have highlighted quality control and safety issues within the UK cereal market. In February 2025, one manufacturer recalled 14 batches of cereal due to the risk that pieces of hard sugar may be found in the product, posing a potential choking hazard. In March 2025, a chocolate crunch granola was urgently recalled after warnings that the product may be infested with insects, making it unsafe to eat. In September 2025, a cinnamon and pecan granola was recalled because certain batches were mispackaged and may contain peanuts and gluten, posing a serious risk to individuals with allergies or celiac disease. These incidents, while individually concerning, point to broader systemic issues within the food manufacturing industry, including inadequate quality assurance, reliance on third-party CO packers, and insufficient regulatory oversight. They also underscore the fact that even products marketed as premium or health-focused are not immune to safety lapses. The legal and regulatory landscape surrounding breakfast cereals in the United Kingdom is evolving, but progress has been frustratingly slow. In 2022, a major cereal manufacturer launched a court battle against new government rules designed to restrict promotions of products high in fat, sugar, or salt, arguing that the formula used to measure the nutritional value of breakfast cereals was flawed because it measures cereals dry when they are almost always eaten with milk. The company claimed that including added milk would change the calculation by reducing the proportion of sugar and salt content relative to the weight of the overall serving, effectively allowing high-sugar cereals to avoid being classified as unhealthy. This legal challenge exemplifies the lengths to which manufacturers will go to protect their market share and resist regulations designed to improve public health. Meanwhile, the restrictions on advertising less healthy food and drink products, which were originally scheduled to be implemented in October 2023, have been repeatedly delayed, with the current implementation date now pushed to October 2025. These delays benefit industry at the expense of children's health and reflect the disproportionate influence that large food corporations wield over policy decisions. The cultural and psychological dimensions of breakfast cereal consumption in Britain also deserve consideration. For many families, cereal represents more than just convenience. It is intertwined with childhood memories, morning routines, and a sense of normalcy in busy households. Parents who grew up eating certain brands often purchase those same products for their own children, creating a cycle of brand loyalty that spans generations. This emotional connection is precisely what marketers exploit, using nostalgia, cartoon characters, and health claims to maintain market dominance despite mounting evidence of harm. Breaking free from these patterns requires not only education and awareness, but also a willingness to question assumptions, challenge advertising narratives, and prioritize long-term health over short-term convenience. It requires recognizing that the cereal aisle, far from being a benign collection of breakfast options, is a carefully constructed landscape designed to maximize consumption and profit, often at the expense of nutritional integrity and public well-being. As a nutrition specialist who has dedicated my career to understanding how food influences health, I believe that British families deserve better than what is currently being offered to them. They deserve transparency, honesty, and products that genuinely support vitality rather than undermine it. The purpose of highlighting these hidden dangers is not to instill fear, but to empower informed choice, to encourage a return to simpler, more wholesome breakfast traditions, and to advocate for regulatory reforms that place health above corporate interests. The cereals I will discuss in detail throughout this analysis represent some of the most problematic products currently available in UK supermarkets, but they are by no means the only ones. The principles outlined here can be applied broadly to assess any breakfast cereal, and I encourage readers to become vigilant label readers, skeptical of marketing claims, and advocates for their own health and that of their families. Having established the broader context and scientific evidence surrounding ultra-processed breakfast cereals, it is now necessary to examine specific products currently available in UK supermarkets that exemplify the nutritional concerns outlined previously. What follows is a detailed analysis of 9 cereal brands that British families would be wise to reconsider, not out of fear or judgment, but from a position of informed choice and health preservation. Each of these products has been selected based on their sugar content, presence of harmful additives, misleading marketing claims, and overall contribution to poor metabolic health outcomes. I have analyzed ingredient labels, nutritional information panels, and recent research findings to provide you with an honest assessment of what these cereals truly contain and how they may affect your family's well-being. The first product that warrants serious scrutiny is Kellogg's Frosties, perhaps one of the most iconic and aggressively marketed children's cereals in the United Kingdom. Public Health Liverpool conducted an analysis that revealed Kellogg's Frosties contains 3.5 sugar cubes or more per 40-gram serving, placing it firmly in the high sugar category. When calculated per 100 grams, Frosties contains 37 grams of sugar, which translates to 37% of the product being pure sugar. To put this into perspective, a single 30-gram serving, which is smaller than what most children actually consume, provides over 58% of the recommended maximum free sugar intake for a child aged 4 to 6 years. The primary ingredients are maize and sugar, with barley malt extract adding additional sweetness, and synthetic vitamins including niacin, iron, vitamin B6, riboflavin, thiamine, folic acid, and vitamin D added to create the illusion of nutritional value. The fortification does nothing to mitigate the metabolic damage caused by such excessive sugar consumption, and parents who believe they are providing a fortified breakfast are in fact setting their children up for blood sugar spikes, energy crashes, poor concentration at school, and long-term risks of obesity and type 2 diabetes. The cartoon mascot Tony the Tiger and bright packaging are deliberately designed to appeal to young children, creating brand loyalty from an early age and bypassing parental scrutiny through emotional manipulation. Equally problematic is Kellogg's Cocoa Pops, another heavily marketed children's cereal that contains similarly alarming levels of sugar. Public Health Liverpool's analysis found that Cocoa Pops contains 3.5 sugar cubes per 40-gram serving, matching Frosters in its sugar load. The cereal contains over 35 grams of sugar per 100 grams, and despite recent reformulation efforts by the manufacturer, it remains one of the sweetest cereals available in UK supermarkets. The product is made primarily from maize, sugar, and cocoa powder, with barley malt extract and glucose syrup adding further sweetness. Like Frosties, Cocoa Pops is fortified with synthetic vitamins, but this does not compensate for the nutritional bankruptcy of the base product. What makes Cocoa Pops particularly insidious is the way it normalizes chocolate as an acceptable breakfast food for children, conditioning young palates to expect sweet, intensely flavored foods first thing in the morning and making it increasingly difficult for parents to transition children towards more wholesome options such as porridge or whole grain cereals. Research has consistently shown that children who regularly consume high-sugar breakfast cereals are more likely to develop preferences for sweet foods throughout the day, leading to overconsumption of calories, poor dietary quality overall, and increased risk of metabolic dysfunction. Nestlé's Cocoa Shreddies represents a particularly deceptive product because it takes a traditionally wholesome cereal, Shreddies, and transforms it into a high-sugar product that parents may mistakenly believe is healthier than other chocolate cereals. Regular Shreddies contains just 1.5 sugar cubes per 40-gram serving and is considered a medium sugar cereal, but Cocoa Shreddies contains significantly more sugar, placing it in the high sugar category alongside Frosties and Cocoa Pops. This demonstrates how manufacturers exploit brand trust and recognition to market unhealthy variations of otherwise acceptable products. Parents who have been serving regular Shreddies for years may not realize that the chocolate version is nutritionally compromised and should be avoided. The use of the Shreddies name creates a health halo effect, leading consumers to assume that all products under that brand are equally wholesome, when in fact they are not. Nestle Cookie Crisp is another cereal marketed directly to children that epitomizes the problems with ultra-processed breakfast foods. The product is designed to look and taste like miniature chocolate chip cookies, which immediately raises the question of why anyone would consider cookies an appropriate breakfast food. Cookie Crisp contains 22.4 grams of sugar per 100 grams, translating to 6.7 grams of sugar per 30-gram serving, which represents approximately 30% of the daily recommended sugar intake for a young child in just one bowl. The ingredients include whole grain wheat flour, maize semolina, sugar, glucose syrup, wheat starch, sunflower oil, calcium carbonate, fat-reduced cocoa powder, salt, raising agent sodium bicarbonate, natural flavoring, and antioxidant tocopherols, followed by a long list of synthetic vitamins. The presence of sunflower oil introduces omega-6 fatty acids and inflammatory concerns, while the glucose syrup adds additional sugar under a different name, obscuring the true sugar content from casual label readers. The natural flavoring is vague and provides no nutritional value, and the fortification with vitamins is purely a marketing tactic to convince parents that this cookie-shaped cereal is somehow nutritious. The product is labeled as containing whole grain as the #1 ingredient and as a source of fiber, but these claims are misleading given the high sugar content and ultra-processed nature of the product. No amount of whole grain or added fiber can offset the metabolic damage caused by consuming such high levels of refined sugars and glucose syrup on a daily basis. Kellogg's Kravi is another chocolate-focused cereal that has become increasingly popular among British children and adolescents, yet it contains dangerously high levels of sugar and should be avoided entirely. Public Health Liverpool classified Kravi as a high-sugar cereal containing between 2.4 and 3.7 sugar cubes per 40-gram serving. The product consists of wheat-based pillows filled with chocolate or hazelnut-flavored filling, and the ingredient list includes wheat flour, sugar, chocolate, vegetable oils including palm oil, glucose syrup, cocoa powder, raising agents, emulsifiers, and flavorings. The presence of palm oil is concerning from both a health and environmental perspective, as palm oil is high in saturated fat and its production is associated with deforestation and habitat destruction. The emulsifiers used to create the smooth chocolate filling may disrupt gut microbiome function, as discussed earlier, and the combination of refined flour, sugar, glucose syrup, and vegetable oils creates a product that is metabolically damaging and nutritionally empty. The marketing for Kravi emphasizes the indulgent chocolate experience, positioning the cereal as a treat rather than a breakfast, yet it is sold in the cereal aisle alongside genuinely nutritious options, creating confusion and enabling poor choices. Lidl's Crownfield Choco Hazelnut Pillows deserves particular attention as an example of how budget supermarket-owned brand cereals can be among the worst offenders in terms of sugar content and additives. Research examining cereals targeted at children found that Lidl's Crownfield Choco Hazelnut Pillows contains 28.5 grams of sugar per 100 grams, translating to 8.6 grams or approximately 2 teaspoons of sugar per serving. Analysis of sugar levels across supermarket brands revealed that Lidl had the highest average sugar content across its cereal range, with an average of 21 grams of sugar per 100 grams across 12 products examined. This is particularly concerning because budget supermarkets such as Lidl and Aldi are often used by lower-income families who may be more price-sensitive and less able to afford premium, healthier alternatives, meaning that the highest sugar cereals are disproportionately consumed by the most vulnerable populations. The nutritional inequalities embedded in the UK food system are stark and unacceptable, and manufacturers who produce these products bear responsibility for contributing to health disparities and childhood obesity in economically disadvantaged communities. Nestle Lion Caramel and Chocolate Cereal is another product that exemplifies the trend towards dessert-flavored breakfast cereals that contain excessive sugar and provide minimal nutrition. The product contains 25 grams of sugar per 100 grams, translating to 7.5 grams or approximately 2 teaspoons of sugar per serving. The cereal is essentially a miniature version of the Lion chocolate bar, and once again we see the normalization of confectionery as an acceptable breakfast option. The ingredients include wheat flour, sugar, glucose syrup, vegetable oils, cocoa powder, caramelized sugar syrup for color and flavor, emulsifiers, raising agents, natural flavorings, and synthetic vitamins. The caramelized sugar syrup adds additional sugar content while also providing artificial coloring through the caramelization process, and the combination of glucose syrup and regular sugar creates a product that delivers rapid blood sugar spikes followed by crashes, leaving children feeling tired, irritable, and unable to concentrate during morning lessons. Teachers across the United Kingdom have reported increasing difficulties with student attention and behaviour, and while the causes are multifactorial, the role of poor breakfast choices cannot be ignored. Kellogg's Crunchy Nut represents a particularly instructive case study because it is often perceived by adults as a relatively innocent indulgence rather than a children's cereal, yet its nutritional profile is deeply problematic. The original Crunchy Nut contains maize, sugar, peanuts at 6%, barley malt extract, molasses, honey at 1% and salt, followed by synthetic vitamins including niacin, iron, vitamin B6, riboflavin, thiamine, folic acid, vitamin D, and vitamin B12. The sugar content is substantial, and the product's saltiness is also concerning, with Crunchy Nut honey and nut clusters containing 0.43 grams of salt per serving. representing 7% of an adult's daily recommended salt intake and exceeding the salt content of a packet of Walker's Ready Salted Crisps. Action on Salt and Action on Sugar have both criticized Kellogg's for the high sugar and salt content of Crunchy Nut products, with director Catherine Jenner stating that Crunchy Nut cornflakes still contain 2.5 teaspoons of sugar per portion, whether milk is added or not. Kellogg's attempt to argue that adding milk reduces the proportion of sugar in the overall serving is disingenuous and exemplifies the lengths to which manufacturers will go to avoid accountability for producing unhealthy products. The various crunchy nut variations, including chocolate clusters, chocolate honeycomb granola, fruit and nut granola, and honey and nut clusters, are even worse, with the chocolate clusters version containing 14 grams of sugar in one serving, exceeding the sugar content of an original glazed crispy creamy donut. These products are marketed as adult cereals with sophisticated flavors and premium positioning, yet they are nutritionally catastrophic and should be avoided by anyone concerned about their metabolic health. The final product I must address is the category of supermarket-owned brand equivalents of these problematic cereals, including Morrison's Choco Pillows, Sainsbury's Frosted Flakes, ASDA Choco Rice, Tesco Honey Nut Cornflakes, and similar products. Research has shown that while some supermarket-owned brands have lower average sugar content than branded equivalents, others are equally bad or worse. Morrison's Choco Pillows contains 36% sugar, Sainsbury's Frosted Flakes contains 34% sugar, and many of these products use the same manufacturing techniques, additives, and ingredient profiles as the branded versions, but at lower price points. The appeal of these products is understandable given cost of living pressures facing British families, but the long-term health costs of consuming these ultra-processed, high-sugar cereals far exceed any short-term financial savings. What is particularly frustrating is that healthier budget options do exist within supermarket ranges, including own-brand porridge oats, shredded wheat, and basic muesli, yet these products receive far less promotional support and shelf space than the high-sugar cereals that generate greater profit margins for retailers. Having examined these 9 problematic cereal categories, it is important to contrast them with genuinely wholesome alternatives that are readily available in UK supermarkets and provide authentic nutritional value without the metabolic risks associated with ultra-processed products. Porridge oats, whether from Quaker, Scott's, or supermarket-owned brands, are universally recognised as the healthiest breakfast cereal option available. Traditional porridge oats contain just one ingredient, oats, with no added sugars, salts, artificial colors, flavors, or preservatives. A 40-gram serving of porridge oats provides approximately 142 calories, 60 grams of carbohydrate, 11 grams of protein, 8 grams of fat, and 9 grams of fiber, along with naturally occurring B vitamins, iron, magnesium, and zinc. The fiber content is particularly important, as it slows digestion, moderates blood sugar response, supports gut health, and promotes satiety, helping children and adults feel full and satisfied throughout the morning. Porridge oats can also help to lower cholesterol levels, as the beta-glucan fiber found in oats binds to cholesterol in the digestive system and facilitates its excretion from the body. The British Heart Foundation ranks porridge as the best breakfast cereal for cardiovascular health, and research conducted at Imperial College London has consistently supported the consumption of whole grains such as oats as a cornerstone of disease prevention. Weetabix is another excellent choice and consistently ranks as one of the healthiest cereals available in British supermarkets. Weetabix contains whole grain wheat, barley malt extract, sugar, salt, and niacin, with just 2 grams of sugar per 100 grams, making it one of the lowest sugar cereals on the market. A 2-biscuit serving provides approximately 72 calories, and while the product does contain small amounts of added sugar and salt, these levels are minimal compared to the ultra-processed alternatives discussed earlier. Weetabix is high in fiber, low in fat and saturated fat, and provides sustained energy release throughout the morning without the blood sugar spikes and crashes associated with high sugar cereals. The product has been a staple of British breakfasts for generations, and its enduring popularity is a testament to its taste, afford, and nutritional integrity. Nestle shredded wheat is perhaps the gold standard for minimally processed breakfast cereals. The product contains just one ingredient, 100% whole grain wheat, with no added sugar, salt, artificial colors, flavors, or preservatives. Public Health Liverpool's analysis found that shredded wheat contains just 0.7 grams of sugar per 100 grams, representing naturally occurring sugars in the wheat itself rather than added sugars. A 2-biscuit serving provides 0.5 sugar cubes, compared to 3.5 sugar cubes in the same serving size of Frosties or Cocoa Pops. Shredded wheat is high in fiber, provides B vitamins naturally present in whole wheat, and offers a genuinely wholesome breakfast that can be enhanced with fresh fruit, nuts, seeds, or natural yogurt for additional flavor and nutrition. The product is manufactured in the United Kingdom, supporting British agriculture and reducing food miles, and it receives a 5-star health rating from nutrition experts. Brands such as Dorset Cereals and Jordan's offer a range of muesli, granola, and porridge products that prioritize whole grains, nuts, seeds, and dried fruits while minimizing added sugars and avoiding artificial additives. Jordan's Country Crisp varieties, including chunky nuts and raisin, are made from whole grain British oats and are high in fiber, though some flavored varieties such as Strawberry Country Crisp do contain added sugars and should be consumed with awareness of their sugar content. Dorset Cereals produces a wide range of muesli options, including Simply Fruity Muesli, Gloriously Roasted Nut Muesli, and Simply Nutty Muesli, which contain minimal added sugars and focus on whole food ingredients. These brands represent a commitment to honest real food and demonstrate that it is possible to create commercially viable breakfast cereals without resorting to excessive sugars, artificial additives, or misleading marketing claims. While these products are typically more expensive than mass-market cereals from Kellogg's or Nestle, the additional cost is justified by superior ingredient quality, better nutritional profiles, and support for more sustainable and ethical food production practices. For families seeking convenience without compromising nutrition, products such as Ready Breck, Quaker Oats So Simple, and Scott's Porridge Oats offer quick preparation options that maintain nutritional integrity. Ready Breck is essentially finely milled oats that cook in just 2 minutes, providing all the benefits of traditional porridge in a format suitable for busy mornings. Quaker Oats So Simple offers individual sachet portions in flavors including original, golden syrup, and others, though it is important to avoid varieties with added honey or excessive sweetness. Even the flavored varieties contain significantly less sugar than ultra-processed cereals, and the convenience factor makes them accessible to families who might otherwise resort to Frosties or Cocoa Pops due to time pressure. What all of these wholesome alternatives share is a commitment to minimal processing, short ingredient lists containing recognizable whole foods, low or no added sugars, absence of artificial colors and flavors, and genuine nutritional value that supports rather than undermines metabolic health. The choice between ultra-processed high-sugar cereals and wholesome minimally processed alternatives is not merely a matter of personal preference or convenience. It is a choice that has profound implications for individual health, family well-being, healthcare system sustainability, and societal flourishing. Every morning that a British child consumes Frosties, Cocoa Pops, Cookie Crisp, or Crunchy Nut instead of porridge, Weetabix, or shredded wheat represents a missed opportunity to nourish their developing body and brain, to establish healthy eating patterns that will serve them throughout their lifetime, and to break the cycle of metabolic dysfunction that is driving epidemic rates of obesity, diabetes, cardiovascular disease, and other diet-related chronic conditions. As a researcher who has devoted my career to understanding the relationship between nutrition and health, I am convinced that transforming breakfast habits represents one of the most powerful and accessible interventions available to improve population health in the United Kingdom, and it requires nothing more than informed choice, modest financial investment, and a willingness to question the marketing narratives that have shaped our assumptions about what constitutes an acceptable breakfast.